Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening and welcome, Michael. You're on the show.
Hi, Sancho. Good to be with you and all your listeners.
Well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Are you ready for the holiday season?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah? Good. Good. So tell us about yourself and your life's work.
Well, I'm known as the Forbidden Archeologist because I deal with a lot of archaeological discoveries that contradict the mainstream theories about human origins. My classic book is Forbidden Archaeology, which is about a 900-page book that documents hundreds of cases of archaeological evidence for extreme human antiquity. And by that, I mean discoveries of human bones, human artifacts, and human footprints that are millions and millions of years old, going all the way back to the very beginnings of the history of life on Earth. And this contradicts the current theories because the current textbook theories tell us that human beings like us first appeared on Earth about 100,000 years ago. And before that, most scientists say, there were no human beings like us. There were only more primitive, ape-like human ancestors. And this is the version that you'll see in every textbook. You'll see it on the National Geographic Channel, the Discovery Channel, when scientists talk about these things. When you go to the local museum, you always see these little displays where they show a little monkey and then a bigger monkey and then an ape man and then a bigger ape man and finally a human being like us. This is the standard textbook theory of human origins, the Darwinian evolutionary theory of human origins. But as I've shown in my work, Forbidden Archaeology, there's a whole lot of evidence that contradicts that idea. There's a lot of evidence that human beings like us have been present on Earth for millions and millions of years, and we've simply coexisted with various kinds of ape men. We didn't evolve from them. So that's what my work is all about.
Wow. Was it a large leap? I mean, I can only imagine in the scholarly world stepping out of, I always refer to Western, especially Western science, Western medical, anything dealing with the Western world as everything has to fit in a neat, tidy, clean box. And if it's not clean and it's not the right size, then it just gets discarded. Was it a large leap for you to step outside of that box?
Well, in one sense, it was, and in another sense, I was prepared for it in this sense. My background, my family background, prepared me to be open to new ideas. You know, my father was an intelligence officer in the United States Air Force, and that meant a couple things. First of all, it meant that our family moved around the world and within the United States every 3 or 4 years. So that opened me up to the idea that there are different ways of looking at things. Different people from different cultural backgrounds in various parts of the world have different ways of looking at things. There's not just one way to look at things. So that was an important influence in my early years. And as I said, my father was an intelligence officer, so that opened me up to the idea that there is hidden knowledge, there is secret knowledge. There are things going on in the world that a lot of people don't know about unless they have special access to this information. So I was prepared to find not only are there different ways of looking at the world, but that there's secret information, that there's information most people don't have access to. So as I grew a little bit older into young adulthood, just like every young adult, I had to find my own way in this world. I had to find my own path to truth. So that led me to exploring a lot of the world's cultures and philosophies and worldviews, and I became attracted to the philosophy of ancient India, to the systems of yoga and meditation that were practiced there. I became interested in the ancient Sanskrit writings of India through all of this. And it was in those ancient Sanskrit writings of India that I first encountered in a systematic way the idea that humans have always been present on Earth since the very beginnings of life here. And, of course, that was something different than I had learned from my textbooks in high school and university. It was something different than I'd heard from any of my teachers in high school and university. So I had to think, well, is what I'm reading in these ancient books mythology? Is it just an invention, this idea that humans have always existed on Earth, or is there any physical evidence to support it? And I should add this idea that humans have been present on Earth for vast periods of time is something that's not found in just the ancient Sanskrit writings of India. It's found in most of the world's wisdom traditions, traditional wisdom systems. So I had to think, is this just a mythological idea? Is it just an invention? Or is there some physical evidence to support it? So that's what led me to start looking into the history of archaeology, which is the science of human origins and antiquity. So I started looking in the current textbooks of archaeology and anthropology, and I did not find any evidence for extreme human antiquity in those sources. But I thought, okay, let me look beyond the textbooks. Let me start looking into the original scientific reports by investigators, by archaeologists and anthropologists and geologists and other people who are digging into the layers of the Earth. Let me look into the original reports in many different languages. Because of my background, I have a knowledge of most of the major European languages, a reading knowledge of them. So I decided, let me start looking into the original scientific reports from the time of Darwin all the way up to the present, and let me see what I find. I didn't know what I would find, but I thought I should look. So when I started doing that, I found many reports of archaeological evidence for extreme human antiquity. I found many reports of human bones, human artifacts, human footprints, many millions of years old. And I collected hundreds of those reports from the scientific literature and put them out in my book, Forbidden Archeology. And I had to think, well, why is it that there are so many reports of this archaeological evidence for extreme human antiquity in the original scientific reports, but they're not present in the textbooks? So that led me to the idea that there's a process of knowledge filtration.
Or suppression.
Yes, direct suppression is one of the ways in which knowledge filtering can manifest itself. So there are the accepted dominant theories and reports of evidence that go along with the accepted ideas. They pass through the knowledge filter very easily. But reports of evidence that radically contradict the accepted theories are filtered